Get out of that damn room. I'm going to use it. My daughter, who had returned home for a homecoming childbirth after a long time, suddenly told me to leave the house. What's she saying on her own? Bewildered by the sudden demand, I retorted. Get out! If I leave this house, where am I supposed to sleep? I don't know about that. What do you think, Dad? Your daughter is going through an important childbirth, so it's only natural to vacate the room for her. Even if you say that. I understand that childbirth is important, but... My husband didn't get angry with our daughter for telling me to leave. Instead, he joined her in trying to kick me out. I had hoped that at least he would stand up for me. Shocked, I felt like I was about to burst into tears. Well then, how about this? You can sleep in the attic. That way, you won't have to leave. Huh? The attic. Are you seriously saying that? In the first place, I'm the one who bought this house. It's unreasonable for you all to tell me to leave or to sleep in the attic. I couldn't take it anymore. If they were going to say such selfish things, then I'd do the same. I won't let you do as you please. I left the house with the property deed in my hands. My name is Lily. I married Ken, who was the same age as me and working as a salesperson for an electronics components manufacturer, 15 years ago. Ken wanted me to become a full-time housewife after we got married, but I still didn't want to quit my job. Hey, do I really have to quit my job? Lily, I want you to stay home as much as possible after we're married. I'll manage the earnings. It's not about that, it's just that I love my job right now, and I still want to work as an editor. I understood Ken's feelings about wanting me to quit my job and stay home. However, I was still in my prime and we didn't have any children yet. I strongly felt that I could continue working, so I pleaded with Ken multiple times, and in the end, he allowed me to keep working. However, I couldn't just ignore Ken's feelings. So, I begged my boss to let me work remotely, which was quite unusual at the time, and I changed my work style to primarily working from home, going to the office only about once a week. I worked as an editor at a publishing company, and most of my work involved using a computer. Due to this, transitioning to remote work went smoothly for me. Since then, I have been able to work quietly at home without any interruptions, and I have steadily developed my skills as an editor. Within a year, I became pregnant with our first child, a daughter named Amelia. When our daughter was born, both Ken and I cried tears of joy. Lily, you've worked so hard, thank you. I have to work harder for the sake of Amelia. From that time on, I left the publishing company and started working as a freelancer. I had acquired some skills, and I wanted to try doing things on my own. My desire for that grew stronger day by day, so I consulted with my husband. Well, Lily, do as you please, he said, giving me a push in the right direction. At first, I struggled to find projects, but about 6 months later, a project I took on received positive reviews, and I now earn around $4,000 to $5,000 per month. I no longer had to go to the office once a week, perhaps because I was always at home. Amelia. Hurry up and take a shower. Shut up. Don't boss me around, you old hag. I'm not bossing you around, and old hag. Since my daughter entered junior high school, we started clashing like this more often. I wondered if I had been nagging too much, but regardless, my daughter's attitude was terrible. Recently, Amelia's rebellious phase has been intense. Can't you say something to her too? Just leave her be, she'll grow out of it. I had a rebellious phase too, but as I got older, it became embarrassing to rebel against my parents. It's just a phase. I also talked to my husband about our daughter, but that was his response. Well, maybe that's true. The rebellious phase will naturally pass. I was optimistic about it, but my daughter's defiant attitude showed no sign of improvement. On the contrary, it escalated over time. When my daughter entered her 3rd year of junior high school, we moved to a new house. Wow, this is a splendid house. Thanks, Lily. We have to work hard to protect this house. We were delighted that the new house was completed. It was partly thanks to my earnings, and my husband deeply thanked me. At this point, my husband's company went bankrupt due to the economic downturn. It's thanks to you working hard and earning money. Naturally, my husband was not in a position to take out a loan. So, I purchased the new house in my name with some earnings. With this change in environment, I hoped my daughter's rebellious phase would finally come to an end. I thought so, but her rebellious attitude continued unabated. On the contrary, when my daughter entered high school, I used to make her lunch every day, but she often said heartless things like, "I can't eat such a poor-looking lunchbox. It's so embarrassing that I don't even want to put it on my desk." I wonder if she has really outgrown her rebellious phase. My husband just said it will end someday, and I had to deal with our daughter while carrying that anxiety. However, my daughter, despite everything, had a good relationship with her father and they got along very well. On their days off, they went shopping together, and they were very close. I wondered if someday I could also laugh and get along with my daughter like that. I thought that way, but it didn't happen. In the end, even after graduating from high school and becoming a working adult, my daughter's attitude towards me remained the same. As a working adult, my daughter started living on her own, so I no longer faced daily criticism as before. But when she came back to visit us, she still threw harsh words at me, just as she used to. "Hey, old hag. Bring me some water. Today's dinner isn't delicious. You've been a housewife for so long, and this is the best you can make? I have to make sure I don't end up like you." She really hasn't changed at all. Even as a working adult, if she keeps this attitude, she might have a tough time someday. Thinking of my daughter's future, I decided to confront her firmly. "Can't you stop it already? You've been calling your parents old hag for so long. I used to think it was just a rebellious phase, but it seems like that's not the case. Are you looking down on me? Why are you bringing this up now? It's because of you, always being at home, that I felt suffocated. Do you know how stressful it was to be told what to do day in and day out?" I see. So, that's what it was. She was stressed by my casual words. I had unknowingly caused her stress. I tried to apologize to my daughter, but it seemed her anger hadn't subsided. With a bright red face, she continued. "Besides, Dad was saying that this house was built with his hard-earned money, right? You've just been lazing around at home, not earning anything, and he complained about it. I'm so angry thinking about how I've been bossed around by someone like you." Huh? What's this? When did it become something that my husband built? That's not true. Enough. I don't want to hear your excuses. I'm leaving. Without listening to my side of the story, my daughter stormed out. Did my husband really say such things? Could it be that my daughter made up the story herself? With growing suspicion, I stood alone, lost in thought. All right. I should just ask my husband directly. At night, when my husband returned from work, I confronted him about what our daughter had said to find out if it was true or not. "Hey. Today, when Amelia came." "Yeah, did she seem well?" "She did seem well, but, you see." "What's wrong?" "Amelia said, this house was built by Dad. Mom just lazes around and doesn't earn anything." "Did you really say that?" As soon as I asked, my husband's expression clearly turned sour. From his expression, it seemed like it was indeed true. "I wouldn't say something like that. What are you talking about? I'm tired today, so I'm going to take a shower and go to bed." My husband said that and went to the bathroom without eating, then headed straight to the bedroom without even facing me. I still didn't know the whole truth, but judging from his attitude, it seemed like my husband had indeed said those things. Why hide it? It would have been better if he had just told the truth. From that moment on, I began to harbor mistrust towards my husband. 6 months later, my husband informed me that our daughter was getting married. "Amelia is getting married, and it seems she's already expecting a child." "What? This is the first time I've heard of this." Why didn't she tell me such an important thing directly? I've known for a while that she might get married. She must really hate me. I was shocked to hear the news from my husband without any prior notice from our daughter, but I was genuinely happy about her marriage and impending child. I see. So, what about the wedding? They're planning to have the wedding after the baby is born and things settle down. I really didn't know anything about that child. Where did I go wrong? I just said, I see, to my husband with only that to say. 1 month later, we had a meeting between both families. It seems like I won't have many opportunities to see my daughter anymore. I thought that, but then, 5 months later, my husband suddenly came home with our daughter. What's going on all of a sudden? Isn't Amelia living with her husband? She came back to her parents' house, so what's the big deal? Well, I guess that's true. I was taken by surprise because I had become afraid of seeing my daughter. But why did they suddenly come like this? I wondered, and then my daughter made a shocking statement. I'm going to use the damn old lady's room, so get out. Why are you saying something like that all of a sudden? Asking me to leave? Don't you understand why I came back home? It's because I came for a homecoming childbirth. Having you here is so stressful. Even if you say that. It's quite selfish to come back suddenly and tell me to leave. I understand that you came back for a homecoming childbirth and that you shouldn't accumulate stress, but if you kick me out, where am I supposed to stay and eat? I don't know about that. Figure it out yourself. Right, Dad? My daughter had a smirk on her face the whole time. As for my husband, far from stopping our daughter, he nodded as if he agreed with her. Then he said to me, well, how about this? You can sleep in the attic. That way, you won't have to leave, right? Huh? Are you serious about the attic? Moreover, I'm the one who bought this house, and it's unreasonable for you two to tell me to leave or sleep in the attic. I've endured everything they've said so far because I thought we were a family. But to these two, I must have just been a mere cohabitant. I've had enough. Fine, do whatever you want with this house. I'm leaving. Really? That's great. Get out quickly. My daughter was overjoyed when I said I was leaving. Well, she can be happy like that for now. I won't silently endure being treated like this. Just watch. I will definitely get my revenge. I didn't want to spend even a second longer in this house. I hastily packed my work tools, clothes, and other belongings into a suitcase, along with the property deed. Hey, you don't have to leave like this. It's too late for that now. Exactly. You were even belittling me and lying to our daughter. What? Trying to stop it now is too late. I'm sorry, but I'm divorcing you too. Divorce? There's no need to go that far. Let me make it clear, it's because you said weird things to Amelia, and have been mistreated by her all this time. You claimed that I didn't buy this house, didn't you? At first, you denied it, but your attitude made it clear. I shouted at my husband in anger, surprising even myself with how loud I could be. He fell silent, apparently taken aback by my outburst. If you're not going to say anything, then it's true, isn't it? Well, it doesn't matter anymore. I'll send an email about a lawyer. Let's discuss further through the lawyer. Fine. He agreed to the divorce so easily. It made me realize that there had been no love left between us for a long time. I shouldn't have married someone like him in the first place. Finally, I can say goodbye to you. Do your best in your future, whatever it may hold. As I was about to leave the house through the front door, my daughter called out to me. Such an insolent child. I gave her a stern look and said, yes, I'll do my best. You, on the other hand, might have some unexpected things happen in your future, but do your best with your father. Huh? What are you talking about? I don't understand a word you're saying. Oh, I get it. You're just saying random things because you're upset about being kicked out. If that's what you think, that's fine. It'll be easier for me this way. I'll keep quiet about the fact that you two will lose this house soon. And so, I left the house and immediately went to a real estate agency. The reason, of course, was to sell that house. I don't care how much you offer. I just want to sell it. When I told the agent, they agreed to purchase it right away. I handed over the deed to the house and signed the sales contract. Now, that house belonged to neither my husband nor my daughter. In addition, I didn't want to be homeless, so I also signed a contract for a cheap rental property. They said I could move in within a week. For the time being, I decided to stay in a nearby hotel. Now, you better regret making me angry. I thought to myself as I went to sleep that day. The next day, I was awakened by a phone call. All right, let's go together. The caller was the real estate agent, wanting to visit the house once. I went to the real estate office from the hotel and then to the house with the agent. Yes. When I knocked at the door, I heard my husband's voice from inside. He must not have expected me to come. It's me. Huh? Lily? Wait a moment. After his surprised response, he unlocked the door and let me in. Did you change your mind and come back? And who's this guy? My husband had a puzzled look on his face when he saw the real estate agent. Understandably so. I had arrived at the house with an unknown man. It doesn't matter who he is. Just move aside. Come on, please, take a look. I pushed my husband aside and walked into the house, with the real estate agent following hesitantly. Wait. Who is this guy? It's none of your business, I retorted, annoyed by his constant interference. As my husband followed me, looking frustrated, we entered the living room. This is the living room. I started explaining the room to the real estate agent, and that's when my daughter, who was sitting on the couch, exclaimed in surprise. Huh? Why is that damn woman here? I thought she left. Yeah, I've already left. Well, it won't be long before you guys have to leave this house too. While thinking that in my head, I continued to ignore my daughter and guide the real estate agent. During all this, my husband and daughter kept shouting, but I didn't pay any attention. It seems fine, no issues. Well then, I'll be in touch with you shortly. Sorry for the noise. We'll kick them out soon. The real estate agent toured the house for about 30 minutes and then left. Why did you suddenly come here? This is unbelievable. Yeah, that's right. And who is that guy? Are you having an affair? There's no way that's true. I can't be bothered with this anymore. It's time to tell them the truth. The person who came earlier was a real estate agent. They came to evaluate this house. Evaluate? What do you mean by that? Seriously? Oh, he's catching on. It seems he's quick to understand things like this. My husband seemed to have grasped the idea that the house is going to be sold, but my daughter still had no clue. That's right. Well, you guys can't live in this house anymore. I don't get what you're saying at all. Explain properly. You still don't understand after all this? You really are. Doesn't your dad already know? Yeah. My husband simply nodded weakly. So, if you don't explain it properly, how are we supposed to understand? I've always hated this about you. Are you trying to stress me out again? Look. The reason you can't stay in this house anymore is that I sold it. I couldn't stand being around you two anymore. It seems I was the only one who thought of us as a family, and I originally bought this house. So, whether I sell it or do whatever, it's my decision, right? My daughter stood there with her mouth wide open, utterly stunned. Sold the house? This phrase seemed to have a significant impact. Is that a joke? It's not a joke. The deed to this house is already owned by the real estate agency. So, you two better start packing up and get out of this house, okay? With that, I told them as I tried to leave the house. Wait a minute! But I was halted by my daughter. What? Talking to me stresses you out, right? Don't act selfish, you hag! Once again, she called me a hag. I could care less at this point. I grabbed her by the collar. Hey, you. What did you just call me? Say it again. While still holding on to her collar, I confronted her, and she had a frightened look on her face. She probably thought I wouldn't say anything. Without letting go, I shouted at my daughter again. "You thought I was a pushover, huh? I've put up with this for so long, but you need to cut it out. Do you think someone like you could be a parent? The child who's about to be born will be so pitiful. You'll only realize how I've felt all this time when your own child calls you a hag in the future. Do you have any idea what I've gone through?" "I'm so sorry." She must have felt a lot of fear. My daughter cried and apologized to me. But even though she was apologizing now, it wouldn't change the situation. Harsh as it may sound as a parent, I left my crying daughter behind and walked out of the house. 1 week later. I've moved into a monthly rental apartment for now. As for Amelia, she's going to stay with her in-laws. Oh, I see. Can you give me your new address? I'll send you the divorce papers as promised. I asked my husband for his address, and I promptly sent the divorce papers to his current address. I thought they might get discarded, but 2 days after sending them, he agreed to our divorce. This was it. I was now completely unrelated to that man. The punishment for mocking me behind my back had finally caught up with him. And Amelia had lost her family home because of all the ridicule she had directed at me. Both of them brought this upon themselves. I continued my editing work in the new rental house, thinking this way. 3 years later. Since the divorce, neither my ex-husband nor my daughter had contacted me. I occasionally wondered how they were doing, but I had no intention of reaching out to them. What's this? One day, I noticed an envelope in the mailbox. There was no sender's name on it, so I had no idea who it was from. It's probably some incomprehensible junk mail from a company. Thinking that, I opened the envelope and found a letter inside. As soon as I saw the handwriting on the letter, I instantly knew who it was from. This handwriting, it's Amelia's. The letter from my daughter read as follows. "Mom, I'm so sorry for all the terrible things I've said to you. I know that apologizing doesn't make up for it. Lately, as my own child has grown, I've started to understand your feelings just a little bit. I said so many things to you because you cared about me. I found that annoying back then. Lately, I've met with Dad and reflected a lot. I was trying to save face and ended up speaking ill of you. That's why you got fed up with me, right? It might be too late, but if you're willing to forgive me, could I come visit with my baby somewhere?" She finally understood. After finishing reading my daughter's letter, I realized that tears were flowing naturally from my eyes. Maybe I had been waiting for a genuine apology from my daughter all along. Thanks to that letter, I reunited with my daughter. "I'm so sorry, Mom." "No, I'm the one who's sorry." When we met again after such a long time, both of us were sobbing. The strained relationship we had up until now was over. From now on, I want to get along well with my daughter, including her children. I truly feel that way.